Good morning. We're going to continue on with our personal finance unit. Today we're going to be talking about budgeting, the basics. Personal budgets are a very difficult thing that even adults struggle with. But what is a budget? A budget is a written record. That's important. It's not just something intellectual or mental. It has to be written down. And it tracks the money that flows in and out of your household or even your business every month. Now, there are two basic concepts. Income, which is money you earn, money you bring into the house or the business. Expenses are money that you spend on things, whether they're planned, such as a mortgage payment every month, or unplanned, like a medical bill because you broke a bone. But it's not just the process of budgeting. There's also a rationale as to why we do it. First of all, we want to try to control the day-to-day spending that we have. And we all have goals in life. As most of you know, my goal is to retire before I'm 51. Because of that, I have to budget. I have to budget what our family brings in every month and every year to make sure that I'm on track for that. Budgeting can also relieve stress, and stress is not only going to be bad for you medically, but it's going to cause you to sometimes do impulse shopping, and that will bring you further and further back from reaching your financial goals. And it allows you to make those savings necessary to prepare for unplanned events. Now, it's generally considered by experts that you should save 3 to 4 months worth of financial resources in order to prepare yourself in case you lose a job or there's a crisis and you do need those resources very quickly. We're going to spend a little bit of time on doing budgeting, but this might be something you can talk to a parent about. You might want to write down everything you spend money on, especially your family. And then also copy down everything that you receive money on. Your parent or parents may have one primary job, but they may have a side job, or they may be doing online sales. Start tracking that. An example right here, the idea of rent or a paycheck or additional money, eating out, that unanticipated expense. Now, when we talk about expenses, remember, money that's flowing out from you personally or your business. There are two types. There are fixed expenses. Those are the things that are predictable. You know generally what the amount is going to be. You take a car loan, you know you're going to pay about $500 a month every month until that loan is paid off. A variable expense is an expense that can change quite a bit. So instead of a subscription to HBO Plus or ESPN Plus, we're talking about dining out, where you may dine out for 3 times in 1 week. That's going to have a bigger impact on your budget than just dining out once a week, or maybe just staying home and cooking. Like I said, fixed expenses include all the things on the screen, insurance, taxes, things like that. Variable expenses, remember those things that kind of change. Your cell phone at times, especially if you make long distance calls or you're charging additional payments for apps on so that you can install that onto a phone. Those can be variable expenses. But in addition to the essential spending, there's non-essential spending. Now in business, we call it discretionary spending. Now we're back to the wants, the concept, the things that you don't necessarily need to survive as an individual or business, but things you'd like to have. We would all love video games, but you can live without it. And we'll spend a little bit of time in class talking about some of these expenses. For the most part, discretionary, remember the optional spending, and the essential spending really do matter, and that's why you also set up a budget so you can track those things. The goal every month is to balance income and expenses, and if at all possible, you want to have at the end of the month more coming in than expenditures going out. And there's a best practice to this, and this is something that has been known in the finance world for many years. After taxes, you want to set things up so that looking at your income, half your income is spent on your needs. 30% at most would be on those wants, those desires, the online subscription, things like that. 20% should go into savings, not only immediate savings like a savings account, but you can also include long-term investments like a 401k, things that you would use hopefully for your retirement We'll talk more about that when we get to the investing portion of the unit. Again, 50, 30, 20, and I'll be referencing that as we go on throughout the unit. Goals have to be specific. They have to be realistic. I would love to be a millionaire, but it's unrealistic at 46 that somehow I'm suddenly going to save up and become a millionaire. So make sure you also have a timeline for how you want this goal to be achieved. Don't just give a goal for buying your first house within how many years. That's going to prevent you from making those unnecessary expenditures. And when we talk about goals, short-term goals are less than a year, 6 months, 9 months, we tend to see. Mid-term goals are 1 to 3 years. And long-term goals, as I said, a house or retirement, that's really more than 3 years. And how you approach your spending and saving is going to matter on the type of goal that you have. For example, a short-term goal. If you want to pay off $1,500 worth of credit debt, okay, within 12 months, that's your goal. You need to establish how much do you have to pay. So $134 a month would get you there. Is that realistic? Hopefully with your budget it is. And when we spent time earlier this week having you complete the career survey, you got a basic idea of the salary that you'd be making in a year. You have to see if that's a possibility. If you have any questions, please come see me. Please keep working hard. We are down to 28 days.